How's it going, YouTube? Time itself here with some Domination on Radiation. And I'm going to be using the MPL, which I've used it for a little bit and I've been pretty happy. I think it's up there with the 74, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why that is. So when I was looking for a different submachine gun, I immediately threw out the Scorpion, the MAC-11, the PM63, and the Kiparis, I think that's how it's pronounced, as options, because they only have 20-round magazines. There are two reasons why that's a bad thing. The first one is obviously without a lot of bullets in the clip, it's hard to kill multiple people without reloading. My accuracy with the submachine guns is right about 20%, plus or minus 1 or so. Submachine guns being a 3 to 5 hit kill normally, I'm going to have a hard time getting more than one kill with a single clip. But an even bigger problem is that the extra ammo you carry scales with the default magazine size for the gun. That means that a 20 magazine size submachine gun starts with 80 rounds, while a 30, like the 74u, starts with 120. Doing some very crude math, I can guess that I probably only get about 4 kills with the ammo that I start out with a 20 round submachine gun. Let's not get into the specifics of that and just leave it at the default ammo is not enough in the 20 round submachine guns. And while a 50% increase on that is certainly nice, it's still really easy to burn through all of that ammo. So I run dual mags almost any time I'm running an SMG or even an assault rifle, then I don't have a scavenger on. So here's the real kicker. The 74u and the MPL are the only two submachine guns that you can have dual mags for. And dual mags on the 74 will take it all the way up to 180 rounds. You can compare that to the 80 rounds that you start with a 20 round submachine gun. It's going to be a couple more for the MPL since it's a 32 instead of a 30, but same idea. Now, of course, you can run extended mags, scavenger, or just plain handicap yourself if you feel like doing that. But for normal play, I don't see any reason to go outside of the MPL or the 74 just as far as being flexible. When you have a lot of money, sure, you can unlock a lot of stuff. But early on, when the cash is tight, I'd stick with the MP5 to start with, the 74 when you get it available, and then the MPL if you feel like playing with something different later on. And there's a similar logic for the pistols. It's really the mag size that determines which one's the best. So the 1911 with extended mags is the best pistol, hands down. It's got one more than the Makarov with extended mags, so there's no reason to use anything else. This spot is really dangerous, and you got to be really careful hopping over the wall. I don't know why they keep coming over here and trying to come over, because you drop your gun, you have to climb over, and you know, it's an easy kill. Be really careful with this spot if you're trying to come over this wall. You're probably better off just going up into the control room and coming out one of those 2 second floor windows. I know it makes you more obvious, but you don't disarm yourself for nearly as long as you do when you're coming over that wall, and so it's probably a better choice. You also do have the option to drop down to the lower floor if you're on the ground. If you're up there, there's some ways to get down. On a related note, on the other side, the switch that opens the doors that's outside, there's a ladder towards the A side of that, and for whatever reason, I don't think most people notice it and know about it. I'm just going to note that it's there. I don't go over there at all this game, so I can't really point it out. It's important to look for the fights based on the type of weapon you have, and I know I'm not going to win that fight at that range, and he still gets me really fast. I was surprised to die around that corner there, but what are you going to do? At first, I really did not like this map for Domination. I thought it was fine for CTF and Team Death, but for Domination, the way this B point is set up is really odd, and it took a while to figure out, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out what to do with it. But is it easier to defend with the doors open or closed? Because if they're open, you can jump in, but they can also throw grenades in, and it's not too hard to get a Semtex in there from quite a ways away. The conclusion that I've come to is that if you're actually down here in this tunnel defending, it's fine to have the doors closed and it works well. Otherwise, you're going to be charging back down to this tunnel, probably rather recklessly, and it's really just better to have the doors open so that you can throw some grenades in at that point. You probably noticed the sentry gun that was down there. That works okay. For whatever reason, they seem to figure that one out pretty fast. A lot of times you put a sentry down and people keep charging it, but for some reason when you put it down in the tunnel, they realize where it is and they usually stop charging it. So reasonably effective defense, but it doesn't pick up a whole lot of kills. One thing that I really haven't settled on is what kind of special grenade to use. The Nova gas seems like a pretty good all-around default. You get a little bit of smoke cover. It really messes people up if they actually do get caught in it, and even does some damage. The stun grenades are still the fastest thing to throw out, but their effect just isn't what it used to be in the Call of Duty games. I mean, there's really minimal disruption to visibility, and it still keeps people from turning very quickly and slowed down, but if they're still looking in the right direction, it doesn't do you any good at all. The effect from flash grenades is pretty good. They seem to increase the range a bit, and flash grenades and Blackbird is an evil, evil combination. The real downside being that it's kind of easy to flash yourself, and the time it takes to throw the grenade is still kind of long. You do still need to get the grenade in front of the person in order to get a really good flash effect, even though behind them it still seems to give you hit indicators. And then you've got your decoys, and those are a lot of fun, but the team tends to run a lot of UAV jammers, I mean counter spy planes, and so they aren't always doing what you think they are. People are also figuring out what they sound like, and so if against decent players they don't work quite as well. And finally, the one that I really don't like is the smoke grenade. Treyarch does not like smoke for whatever reason. You can only have one of them, even with Warlord, even though they're not very good. The thing is that the effect area simply isn't large enough. I got used to the Call of Duty 4 smoke grenade, where you could cover an entire street with one grenade and run across it, and no one would have any idea that you were there, and you cannot do that in this game. Again, the area that the smoke covers just isn't large enough, and it doesn't last long enough either. And it was the same way in World at War, wasn't it? For example, if you wanted to smoke past the door that goes down into B in an Infinity Ward game, you'd need 2 smoke grenades, one on either side, and you'd cover everything but the warehouse and the catwalk on either side. And in a Treyarch game, well, you'd need 4 or 5, and in fact, it's probably not even worth your time to try it. You'll notice the enemy team has somehow acquired a chopper gunner, and I'm just going to stay underground and protect B, since it's the most important point, until that thing goes away, or one of my teammates happens to shoot it down. But back to this whole ammo thing. In COD 4 and World at War, guns shared ammo. There were a couple different ammo types, I think 4, and if you ran over the right type, you picked it up, and that was the end of the story. If you needed more, you could either use the M9 with the MP5, which was my personal favorite Ghost class, or you could run Bandolier, and that didn't prevent you from running UAV Jammer. But in this game, if you want to run Ghost, you can't run Bandolier or Scavenger. So the whole SMG thing with being fast, there are only 2 guns that really work with it. And I also assume in this game that your second perk is going to be Warlord, so that you can run the silencer dual mag setup. I honestly just don't see any other good ways to run a Ghost class in this game. As far as what Treyarch can do about it, there's not a whole lot, because they're going to keep the Scavenger perk around, and honestly going back to the COD 4 ammo system is probably my preferred way of dealing with this. So that really just seems to remove the scaling with default clip size, and maybe just adding more ammo in general. That's really all I see. At any rate, I was quite happy with how the MPL treated me this game. Just a team of 5 of us with a random against a team of 4 and a team of 2, and everybody stuck around the whole game. Well, I really appreciate that. I have so many games where people leave early. Pretty good score in the end, not amazing, but I had a lot of fun playing this game and trying out a new gun. Oh, and where it puts your logo on the gun, I kind of like that. It makes it really easy to see. I hope that my little SMG analysis was useful to you, the major conclusion being use a gun with a 30-round magazine, and if you plan on not running Scavenger, then use either the MPL or the 74u with dual mags so you can get as much ammo as you possibly can when you start out. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I certainly had fun this game, and once again, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.
Цель нейтрализована!